Hello, vintage outboard motor fans. This is T-Mike here at Toledo Bend Lake, making another video today. Today's video is going to be an overview of how to do a mechanical restore. Alright, so this is going to be a 4-part video. There are 4 main components to a vintage outboard motor. Alright, there's the power head, there's the ignition magneto, there's the carburetor, and there's the gear case. So those are the 4 main components that you would rebuild doing a mechanical restore. So I'm going to give you an overview of how to do those 4 steps. If everybody's ready, here we go. Alright, so I do 2 types of restores. I do a full restore where I do the restoration of all 4 components, and I also take it apart and clean it, paint it, and decal it. That's a full restore. The mechanical restore, or the light restore, is where I just do the rebuilding of the 4 main components: power head, ignition magneto, the carburetor, and the gear case. So I'm going to show you the full restore. I'm working on one right now for Bill here in Natchitoches, Louisiana. All right, it's restore number 128. It's a full restore. It's a 1966 9.5 horsepower Johnson. I've done the full restore. So here's component number 1 on it. It's the gear case. The power head. So I don't do power head work. The rebuild would involve taking out the pistons, taking the head cover off, taking out the pistons, reholding the cylinders, changing the rings, checking the upper gear case seal. I don't do that type of work. I sell parts on eBay, so I have so many power heads that if the power head is not good, I just replace it. So the overview section of that is now completed. So the second part of the rebuild components is the magneto. And I have rebuilt this magneto for Bill. So all coils, points, condensers, spark plug wiring has been changed. All right, so that is done. And then the third part of the mechanical restore is the carburetor. Here's Bill's carburetor for his 9.5. I've rebuilt it, carb kit, cleaned it, carb kit, gaskets, all been done. And then the fourth part of the mechanical restore is the gear case. So I have checked the seals, pressure tested it, changed the impeller, gear oil, all been mechanically restored. So this motor is ready to put back together. Now I'm going to take you through the steps of doing this restore on another motor I'm working on. This motor is for Tim in Georgia. It's a restore number 133. It's a light restore. It's a 1968 9.5 horsepower Johnson. So I'm going to walk you through the steps. Now this is an overview. In other words, I'm not going to give you the details of rebuilding the magneto. I have separate videos that go into the details of all these rebuilds. This is an overview of the steps. So if you have a motor you picked up and it runs but it doesn't run good and you want to go through it and give it a mechanical restore, here is the overview of the components that I do, how I do the rebuilds on them. So if everybody's ready, here we go. So here's the flying motor, brought to me by Tim in Georgia by airplane. I'm getting started working on it. I've checked compression. I've got 60 compression, and it's got spark on both sides. I did have trouble getting it started, and use a little spray, a little starter fluid spray on it to get it started. But guess what? She runs. good, but it's a little hard to start. So the spark was there, but not perfect. So he's got a 950 restore overhaul done. So I'm gonna rebuild the Magneto, new spark plug wires, new points and condensers. I'm gonna clean the carb. He's got new fuel lines here. Somebody must have worked on this thing. And I'm gonna change all the fuel lines, and then I'm gonna get in the gear case and overhaul that. So I'll document the process, and we'll get this flying motor ready for Tim. Still moving stuff. The move is not quite over yet, but we're getting there. It's a beautiful day in March 2023 here on Toledo Bend Lake. Tim had a broken control plate right here. The stubs off the back of these things, if you ever try to take them off, they are a pain. Broke off and couldn't find anything online. Fortunately, I had another motor. I was able to replace this control panel broken off for Tim and got that part fixed. So I got the Magneto off and in the shop to replace and do a tune-up on it. So here we go with the tune-up kit on the Magneto. All right, in the process of rebuilding the Magneto, I got all the parts taken off. I'm gonna reuse the coils. They're the original coils and they're better than the new ones, so I'm gonna keep those. Got the tune-up kit ready to replace right here, and I'm gonna show you why we replaced, and even though it had spark, why we're replacing the points. See that pitting on there? That pitting on the points right there, and you can see it on the other side too. Spark was a little weak. So I'm gonna replace the points, condensers, and the wiper. Here's the old oil wiper. It's all dirty and corroded. I'll put a fresh one on there. It'll be rebuilt for Tim. Okay, got the Magneto rebuilt. Now I'm gonna check the wiring, show you how to do that. We'll get this with the cam facing you. This is the top coil, and this is the bottom. I've got the top spark plug wire marked with that band. Now I want to make sure that I did it right, so I'm gonna go across one lead coming from this coil to across the other lead from this coil, and that should be between 3 and 10 ohms, and it is. It's 7 ohms. And I'm gonna take one side and go to the one I have marked as the top, and I'm gonna touch it on the end of the wire right there, and it should be between 3 and 10,000 ohms, and it's 4,000 ohms. So that wiring is good. Now let's check the bottom cylinder coil. Go across that lead of the coil and across this lead of the coil, and I'm at 8 ohms. That's good. That's the primary. Now to measure the secondary, I'm going to leave one clip, and I'm going to go to the end of the wire on the other lead, and there's 4,000 ohms. So my wiring is correct. Coils are good, wiring's good, marked properly. I'm ready to take it outside and set the points on it. Here we go. So moving on to the carburetor, got the Magneto rebuilt. Carburetor, I pulled the carburetor off, and somebody's been in this carburetor because the gasket, half the gasket stayed on the motor, and this one doesn't come off. It looked like they used some sealer on it, which you're not supposed to do in a carb situation with these gaskets. And that's the broken gasket for the bottom half, and on this half that fits together, looked like they put 2 gaskets. Got gasket here and gasket here, and again they use some sealer. Not supposed to do that, so I'm gonna have to rework all the gaskets on this carburetor and clean it. So I'll be working on that. All right, I've scraped both sides of the carburetor. All the surfaces have been cleaned. All the stuck gaskets have been removed, and I'm ready to put it back together. Hey! All right, well, I got the Magneto carburetor off, being rebuilt. I'm gonna rebuild the gear case now. Drain the gear oil, pressure test it, replace the impeller, replace the gear oil. Here we go with that. All right, I got the gear case off, drained the oil out of it, and pressure tested, and she's not holding water. So I'm gonna, not holding air, so I'm gonna drop her in the bucket here. And I'm gonna pump her up and see if we got air coming out of her. Kind of hard to do with one hand. And there's the problem. Shift boot seal. Common problem on these motors. And shift rod. The shift rod moves up and down over the years of shifting, and the rubber O-ring inside goes bad. So I'm going to change the shift rod seal and pressure tester. Okay, so to change the shift boot, I got to take the gear case completely apart, and the pivot pin here is stripped. Can't get it out. I tried an impact Phillips on it. That won't get it out. So I'll show you a key mic trick. I'm going to cut a slot in this so I can get a bladed screwdriver on it and get it out. Let's see how that works. All right, let's see how this is going to work. Made a nice little slot right there. And that worked. Pivot pin is coming out. T-mic trick for you guys. Now I'm going to replace that with another pivot pin. That worked pretty good. Okay, I got the gear case apart. Gears look really good. Somebody got carried away with this red sealer, and I can't really feel the spaghetti seal in there, so I'm going to clean that up and change that spaghetti seal and get rid of all the sealant they got on here. But otherwise, the gears, the linkage, clutch dog, gear set, everything looks good. I'll clean that up, change that shift boot down in there, and put it back together. Alright, I got the shift rod seal changed out. I got the new impeller ready to replace. I cleaned up the gear case, put a new spaghetti seal, and used the Evinrude Johnson gasket sealing compound. So I'm ready to put it all back together. Here we go. Alright, got the impeller, shift boot, gaskets, sealant, everything done, and lo and behold, she holds pressure. 7 pounds is what is recommended, and no less than 5 pounds after 24 hours. I'm going to make it do 7 in 24 hours. So we'll check it this time tomorrow, and the gear case has been rebuilt. Woohoo! Yes, sir. 24 hours later, she's still holding 7 pounds, so the gear case is good to go. Ready to put back on the motor, been rebuilt. So now we have the 3 components rebuilt. The ignition magnetos rebuilt. Carburetors rebuilt, new gaskets cleaned, gear case, impeller, gear oil, pressure tested. All three components are ready to put back on the flying motor. I'm going to do that and then we'll test run her in the barrel. Yes sir, I've got her back together now. Got the rebuilt Magneto in, rebuilt carb in, and the rebuilt gear case in. And guess what? Yes sir, she runs like a beauty. I've changed the rope on her also and put a new handle. So that's how you do a mechanical restore. The three components that I rebuild, the Magneto, carburetor, and the gear case, and put it back together, and she's good as new. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video. See y'all next time. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I know I enjoyed making it. I love what I do. I especially love helping people with their hobby and providing all the services that you need to work on these vintage outboard motors. So I'd like to take this opportunity to go over the things that I can offer you. So first thing is my eBay store. I have an eBay store, been having it for 10 or 12 years, have over 2,000 parts. If you need parts, T Mike's eBay store is where to go. I have a link for all these things down in the description. Just click on the link, it'll bring you right to my store. I also offer a mail-in service program. You can ship me your Magneto carburetor or gear case. I'll repair it here, test it on my motors, and send it right back to you. Alright? I also offer technical consulting. I have a link down in the description on eBay to buy it, $40 an hour. I don't mind you calling me and helping you for 10 or 15 minutes for free. If it takes longer than that and you want to dedicate an hour or two towards helping it, just buy one of these items on eBay and I'll give you technical consulting. I also do repair, service, and restoration on outboard motors. You've seen my videos, you've seen my work. Here's a link to the video to give you the prices for doing that work. You can ship me your motor. I can restore it for you and ship it back to you. Alright? I've also started selling parts on eBay. Alright? I sell a full tune-up kit, the master kit. It's got everything you need. Coils, points, condensers, spark plugs, spark wires with the boots on them. Everything you need to rebuild your carburetor. And then I also sell all these parts individually. You can buy just the coils, just the tune-up kit, just the spark plugs, just the spark wires if you want. Alright? And also, I'm now offering T Mike Vintage Outboard caps and mouse pads. If you want to join the T Mike Club, all these links are down in the description. Also, I would like to mention that if you have any videos that I don't have that you would like to make, just hit me on YouTube or text me at 337-278-5429. I'll gladly make a video. I've got over 270 now videos on these motors. I think I have everything covered, but if I don't, just go ahead and hit me up. I'd love to make a video to help you guys out. And always remember and never forget, here at T Mike's Vintage Outboards, we're doing it one motor at a time. See y'all next video.